In this video, we're technically analyzing Nasdaq 100, and as you guys can see, we are on the monthly chart. And just to recap, a few months ago, we spoke about the monthly chart and how at this level over here at the bottom, which is at this level, we have that candlestick, and we said that that candlestick is actually a liquidity candlestick, as it is a bearish candlestick with a small body and quite a long lower wick. And as I've said to you guys, it means that at some point in the future we will see the market push further down to that level to grab that liquidity. To add to that, remember that we had this double bottom as well, where we saw a lot of traders and investors actually buy on that second leg of that W structure and placing their stop losses just below. So there is plenty of scope for the market in the future to actually move further down to these levels to grab all of that liquidity, because there is a lot of money stuck below, right? However, this may take quite some years to actually happen. Nonetheless, the most important level at this point in time, in my humble opinion, is this level over here. Why do I say this level? It is a very strong level of resistance at this point in time, and chances are that we're going to see the market over the next couple of days actually move further up to test that resistance level. And at that level over here is where we might potentially start looking for those potential selling opportunities. And it is also my belief that at this level over here, should we have a situation where the market actually closes above that level, we would then wait for the market to head back to the level to test it. And at this point is where we would look for further opportunities, as the anticipation would be for the market to continue to move further up, and at least to this level, and then secondly to that level again. And especially if this level actually aligns with any key numbers on the Fibonacci retracement level, that we will be looking for those potential buying opportunities. I just hope what I'm saying makes sense. Anyway, as I said, the most important level at this point in time is this level, and at this level over here is where we may look for potential selling opportunities. Anyway, from here what I'm going to do is head down to the weekly chart, and here we are on the weekly chart. And what do we see on the weekly chart that we should be paying attention to? At this point, I don't see much in regards to the weekly chart, although I can see that at this level over here, we actually also have a very strong level of resistance. And what may possibly happen over the next couple of days is that we might get a reversal of sorts. And another reason why I say so is because not only is the market at a very strong level of resistance at that point, but we also have what seems to be a small M structure forming there, with this side being the second leg of that M structure. And we might potentially see the market actually move further down to around this level over here. Why do I say that level? That's because that level is actually a very strong level of support at this point in time, and at that level we may potentially then look for those buying opportunities again, as I said to you guys earlier, that ideally we want to see the market actually move further up to at least this level over here, and then again to that level, right? And another thing that I want to point out is that if you pay attention to this area over here, we have a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long upper wick, and you guys by now know that that means we have a lot of liquidity at this point, and liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market. So as much as earlier I said that there is plenty of scope for the markets to move further down, what may possibly also happen is we might see the market actually move further up to grab the liquidity at this point, and then move up again to grab the liquidity at that level as well, because we also have another candlestick at this point which is very much similar to this one, in that it too is a bullish candlestick with a small body and quite a long upper wick. So there is also plenty of scope for the market to continue to move further up, right? Another thing that I also want to mention while we're still on the weekly chart is that if you look at this area over here, we have what seems to be an M structure. And I've said to you guys multiple times that whenever it comes to these M structures, a lot of traders and investors usually sell on the second leg of that M structure, and they place their stop losses just above. So there is plenty of money above, right? Firstly, at this level where we have that candlestick that's carrying all of that liquidity, we have another one at this point, right, which is also carrying a lot of liquidity. Thirdly, we have this M structure that I just spoke about, and I said to you guys that a lot of traders and investors sell on that second leg of that M structure, and they place their stop losses just below. So there's also a lot of money trapped here in the form of stop losses, and in the future we will most likely see the market actually move further up to those levels to grab that liquidity, right? And perhaps at this level we might then see the market actually give us another M structure and push further down, because as I said, we have a lot of money stuck at this point, as we have a bearish candlestick at this level that's carrying a lot of liquidity. To add to that, I mentioned that we have this W structure, and we had a lot of investors and traders buying at that level and placing their stop losses below. So we might in the future see the market actually do something like this. Nonetheless, all I'm doing at this point is just speculating, and I'm not necessarily saying that the market will unravel in the manner in which I've just described. I'm just showing you some of the possibilities as far as Nasdaq 100 goes. Anyway, from here, what I'm going to do, guys, is head down to the daily chart. But as I said, at this level over here, we may have what seems to be an M structure, and we might potentially see the market actually move further down to around this level to test this very strong level of support, and then at that point move further up. Anyway, here we are on the daily chart. The first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the daily chart is to add my daily channel. Let's have a look. I would add my daily channel more or less in this manner. There we go. Let me just zoom in a bit, and let's see what's happening in regards to the daily chart of Nasdaq 100. Right, there we go. Right, so remember, earlier spoke about how actually in this block we have what seems to be an M structure, but now that we are on the daily chart, we can see that we have what seems to be a triple top forming, with this side being the last leg of the triple top. However, in order for this triple top to be valid, we need at least one candlestick at this point to close as a bearish candlestick, and then we might potentially see the market, as I said, move further down to around this level. And at this level, we will most likely look for potential buying opportunities. Why do I say so? That is because this is a very strong level of support at this point in time. However, having said that, it is also quite possible that because this potential triple top would have started at this level, we might potentially also see the market actually move further down, disregarding this level and pushing all the way to this level, which is in line with this level over here, which is where it would have started, in my humble opinion. Another reason or another motivation for why the market may actually move all the way down is because, number one, we have this candlestick over here, that bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. We have another one at this point, we have another one at that point, and lastly we have another one at this point, right? So all of these points are liquidity areas, and as I usually say to you guys, liquidity is actually money that needs to be triggered by the market at one point or another. So there's a lot of money stuck at all these levels, and there is plenty of scope for the market to actually move further down to grab all of those liquidity areas. I hope you guys can see that, right? Anyway, let's proceed. What else do we see? Another thing that I see that is also very much important is that as much as we have this potential triple top, just also bear in mind that we have what seems to be a W structure over here, with the side being the second leg of the W structure. And what may potentially happen is, as much as at this point the anticipation is for the market to push further down, we might actually see the market continue to move further up because of the fact that we have this W structure which has a neckline at that point, right? So what I'm going to do now, guys, is just to add my neckline, right? Let's see, right? So this is the neckline of that W structure, and what may possibly happen is we might get a fake out, because as I said, a lot of traders and investors are anticipating this move over here, right? And what may happen is that the market from where it is may only move further down to around where we have the neckline of this W structure, and then only from here continue to move further up and grabbing the stop losses of all those who would have sold at that level. I hope you guys can see that. Before we continue, I also wanted to stress and also remind you guys that currently we are in earnings season, and when it comes to earnings season, what happens a lot of the time is that the earnings tend to have an effect on indices in such a way that technical analysis at times becomes irrelevant. So you may have a situation where your technical analysis is actually perfect, so to speak, but for some reason the markets don't follow that technical analysis. It's very much a reality as far as earnings season goes. So you guys need to ensure that you practice good money management and that you make sure that you are safe in regards to either buying or selling, right? Just keep that in the back of your mind, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see in regards to the daily chart? At this point, I don't see much, but I also want to point out that we had actually a smaller W structure over here, with this side being the first leg of that, or rather the second leg of the W structure, and where a lot of traders and investors actually bought, and a lot of them also placed their stop losses just below, right? After that happened, we saw the market again push further down to around the same area. This entire move over here, in my humble opinion, was a stop hunt, right? It was a stop hunt because we had the smaller W structure first, and as I said, a lot of people bought at this point and they placed their stop losses below. Hence, we even saw this candlestick over here, which is a pin bar, right? So this tells me that as much as we have this potential pattern over here, right, it is also possible that we might actually see the market actually move further up, because we saw this stop hunt to grab all of those stop losses that were there and then push further up. I hope what I'm saying makes sense, right? Anyway, let's head down to the H4 chart. On the H4 chart, I'm just going to start off by fixing my channel somewhat. Let's have a look. There we go. That should be fine, more or less. There we go. So what else do we see on the H4 chart that we should be paying attention to? In fact, before we proceed, I also want to start off by adding my H4 channel as well. So let's have a look. How would I add my H4 channel? I would do it in this manner. Just bear with me, everybody. So there goes my H4 channel, and let's zoom in, right? And just to recap, remember on the daily chart I spoke about how at this point in time we actually have this huge W structure which has a neckline at that level, and I said to you guys that we may potentially see a fake out where the market pretends to actually give us the third leg of this potential triple top and actually only pushes further down to around this level, and at this level we may potentially see the market push further up. And that is because, remember guys, when people sell at this point, a lot of them will actually put their stop losses just above. So if the market pushes further down to around here, this will act as further confirmation to a lot of traders and investors that indeed the market is about to go down, and they will place their stop losses at that point, only to realize that we may potentially see actually the market bounce off of this area, only to continue to move further up. Because also remember, on the bigger time frames, we spoke about how the market actually needs to continue to head up, right, because of that huge W structure that we have on both the monthly chart as well as the weekly chart, right? Anyway, let's proceed. What else do we see in regards to the H4 chart that we should be paying attention to at this point in time? At this point I don't see much, but as I said, this level over here is where I believe we will see some fake moves happen, where we may potentially see the market push further down to around this level, only to continue to move further up, and in the process trapping all those traders and investors who are expecting this kind of move to happen.